Yes, we are here for Sonic Riders. It was bound to happen eventually, but now it is. Hey everyone, I'm Thermal64 here, and today we're here for that Sonic Riders action. Now, this will actually just be like a small little distraction of a series, because we're going to be covering this game, Zero Gravity, of course, and actually, no, I'll save that for later. What we are going to do right now is that we're going to be focusing on the story mode for both Heroes and Babylon. But of course, we have to unlock it first. And of course, you have to unlock all these. Well, at least for the playthrough purposes, we don't have to unlock these. Which, thank goodness, because that's quite a lot of grinding you'd have to do for that, even with the Grand Prix. And of course, once we get to it, for like the extra modes, the extra videos, we could do like the tag mode, the survival mode for both racing and battle to show you what that's like. But for now, let's focus on the story.
I think the signal's coming from around here. That's really weird. It looks like something's jamming the radar signal.
Huh? There! What's that?
Sonic! The emerald's over there!
All right! Now we're talking! Shoot! Not bad. What the? So, you're supposed to be the fastest thing alive? Oh, new competition.
Eggman!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone! I hope you're all ready for a show. We've got an exciting event just for you. Since you all seem so bored, I've put together a little extra something to spice things up. I call it the EX World Grand Prix, a tournament to see who's the best of the best with extreme gear. Not just a race, but a special race to see who's the fastest. And these races are no holds barred. All contestants pay a simple entry fee of 1 Chaos Emerald, and the winner takes it all. So, let's see who among you dares to meet this challenge.
Eggman again! Just what is he up to this time?
And there's more. Before I forget, I'll present the current contestants. These players, they're hot. The best racers I can find.
Hey, that's the EX World Grand Prix, huh? Let's do this!
Alright, y'all. So, with this playthrough, there's actually a tiny little bit of lore with this one compared to like the Crash and the other Sonic games I've played in the past.
Alright, bring it on.
So, believe it or not, there was a point where I actually did like a little bit of a group chat thing with my friends, like about 10 years ago. 10 years ago! I don't know if that team channel is still up by this point, but this was actually one of the games I wanted to cover because I believe my boy D at the time, and I know you guys know him, has actually covered Sonic 06 on that playthrough. So I was thinking about, let's just do a little bit of Riders for the Hero and Babylon Cop and just call it a day for that. Ever since then, I've always wanted to have like a reason to cover this particular game, but just never got around to it for other reasons, like doing A-Quest, all those streams, and of course all of the Crash games. And yet, you're probably wondering why I'm doing this now. That's because the not-so-secret game that we're going to be having on this playthrough actually has one of the biggest changes I've ever heard for that game. Oh, frick, C-Rank. Anyway, one of the biggest changes I've ever heard a game have, and now, I just want to cover that game. Like, I actually want to cover it, but we gotta do it the right way. We gotta go through this and Zero Gravity first before even thinking about touching it. Now, what that game is, let's be honest, you probably already know what the game is. Like, there's really only 3 games in the series. I don't know what the heck else there could be. As of August 2023, before they end up announcing a new game at like Tokyo Game Show or something like that. Although I doubt it, since the only thing they've announced for Sonic nowadays is Sonic Superstar, which I am looking forward to. But it's not this. Like, it's not Sonic Riders. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm hyped to see what they're gonna do with that, but it's not this. Okay, but that said, ever since then, I've covered a few Sonic games throughout the whole span of me doing this YouTube thing for, I think, actually funnily enough, like 12 years now. I think we're at 12 years ever since I created this channel. And it's been an absolute blast since then. So, before we continue, well, actually, no, we will continue. After we continue, I'll explain the rest about the actual game we're playing here.
Yeah, but what exactly is Eggman really after? Ah, it can't be anything too important.
Hey, Sonic!
Huh? Amy? Don't tell me you've signed up too!
Of course, it really looks exciting and fun. Why wouldn't I join? And besides, this way, I'll be able to keep my eyes on you.
Ugh. Tails?
That mark.
Mark?
Uh-huh. I think it was on the boards of those guys we ran into in Future City. Babylon.
Babylon?
Yes, the mark of the Babylon roads. A long time ago, there was a floating island known as Babylon Garden. Supposedly, robbers lived there. According to rumors, this legendary band, the Babylon Rogues, were great thieves. Legend also says that the Babylon Rogues incurred the wrath of the gods because of their crimes, and that the island was cast into the depths of the earth. After that, supposedly the Babylonians were then scattered for all time, never to be found. But they say that the Babylon Rogues' treasure still remains on that island, waiting to be discovered. There are also rumors that the Babylon Rogues were extreme gear specialists.
Still, how can a plank like that just float?
That's easy to explain. According to the Kutta-Joukowski lift theorem, the control surface flow is balanced by the inverse kinetics of the...
Stop! I get it, okay? It just floats, and that's good enough for me.
too funny. Huh? That gear's unusual.
Customized it myself.
Well, I never imagined anyone would enter the race with such a piece of junk. Thanks, though. It was good for a laugh. See ya, Shorty.
Oh, that girl! Who does she think she is?
Yeah, how can she just walk in and diss Tails?
I know, and tinkering's all he's really good at, too.
The next race is about to begin. Please come to the gate, participants.
He deserved that. He deserved to be a little bit angry after all that. But let's talk about this game for a second. So, as Sonic the Hedgehog is all about speed, it's practically inevitable that we're going to have a crap ton of racing games. What I did not find out was the fact that there'd be different elements of these races. So, first, we had, what is it? We had Sonic Drift and Sonic Drift 2 way back. Then we have this right here, Sonic Riders, where it's all about using extreme gear for racing. And pretty much what we have nowadays is the Sonic racing titles where it's just them on carts, like super personalized carts, but carts all the same. And I ain't trying to diss. I do actually like the way they have them decked out with all the stuff in both Team Sonic Racing and even Sonic and Sega All-Stars games. Both the first one that had Banjo and Kazooie and Transform. So this one is, as I mentioned, is all about string geared. You can actually use boosts. The entirety of this game, as well as what the heck you do with it, and also what the heck was that? Is all surrounded by the use of air. Air is pretty much your main way of being able to boost, stay on your board for some reason. Actually, no, the real reason is because that's how you're supposed to float. It's in air. I mean, it's on air, of course. That's just generally how this works. So, the best way, and the best thing that most people recognize about this game is the trick system. Depending on what type of ramp you're using, like this right here, you can just use it like a quick way to get some air. There's the air pits right here. There's the large ramps that have two ways. I'm going to go for the large one. Like this one right here. If you do a forward input with your charged jump, you can actually make the farther route. There's some that goes really high up where you have to do this right here. Where you have to do back and then do whatever you want, which is honestly also really nice. If this wasn't a complete sweep, I would honestly have more things to talk about, like with the idea of turbulence being the main comeback mechanic with the game. The counter to that being this tornado move right here, where you press L and R together. I even forgot to mention, if you use L or R, you can drift. They even expect you to drift in a lot of sections in this game. It's actually really good. But other than that, the main thing about the Riders games is the whole dynamic of your characters being able to take specific shortcuts, which also can be used to gain air. Like the first one where you played as Sonic can grind on the Sonic and Speed characters can grind on rails, which is based off of the Speed type and heroes. Fly type, just like with Tails in this one. We were able to fly through the dashing rings. We could go a little bit broken with that one, but it's not the absolute best because of that. And you could probably guess what Knuckles is. We're obviously gonna play him next.
I'll make sure to pay you back for this!
Ha! I let you get away last time, but definitely not today!
Why wait till later, you little punk? I'll pay you back tenfold now!
Huh. Sorry.
What are you doing, you clumsy fool? Was that supposed to be some kind of punch?
Nice try, buddy!
Sorry there. It wasn't my fault. If he hadn't jumped out of the way just now, I would have clobbered.
What?
The race is about to start. All participants, please get to your positions now.
The track then! We'll settle this there!
Looking forward to it.
And Knuckles is power. If you played Sonic Heroes, again, you could probably guess what his is. And funnily enough, in Egg Factory, this level actually favors power types. Sort of. I'll talk more about the head start after this lap, but basically, power, anything that touches you in terms of objects, is practically irrelevant. You can just hit everything out of the way. And for this course specifically, I do mean just about everything. Check this out. So what makes Sonic Riders unique though, is that other than the fact that you have these character-specific shortcuts you can take, and the fact that you don't need items to actually attack your other players, you can just boost into them. Some courses even have specific areas you can visit, some that can only be accessed with the character shortcuts, just like in Heroes. Although in Heroes it's not really a secret, but details. Alright, but yes, here we go, the turbulence. This is the main comeback mechanic where if you're behind someone, and given the circumstances, they allow you to do like a little bit of wind here. And the wind is forced, by the way. You can't turn the turbulence off. Let me see if I can actually get behind Storm for this. Oh, I missed him. Hold on. Is he going down? Oh, he went the top route. Frick. Okay, but yes. So on top of the turbulence, you can't just directly boost. And if you happen to get in contact with someone while boosting, hold this. You get to attack them. So on top of that shortcut right there, we also have this shortcut you can reach just by drifting. It's a much shorter way to get to this part right here. In those sections, you have to spin the control stick like crazy if you want good air. Now, something I do want to shout out about while playing... Oh, frick, I did it too early. While playing this, is that just like with what you'd expect with a lot of racing games now, like the older ones, this game has mods. The coolest thing about this one in particular is that it actually has a whole scene on it, on the Tournament Edition mod of this, as well as Sonic Riders DX. I'm only playing the original version with an upscale, but the fact that there's a whole scene for this, a whole modification of the Tournament Edition, and the fact that there's actually so many more characters out onto that game at this point. Like, it legitimately feels like a different Riders game that I wish we could be playing nowadays, but whether we do get to or not is really dependent on whether Sega feels like touching this series again. But unfortunately, like I mentioned also earlier, they've been kind of at it with just a lot of the kart racing types, like the Sonic Sega All-Stars Racing, All-Stars Racing Transform, and the latest one being Team Sonic Racing. Again, good games on their own right, but we're here to talk about riders.
The semi-final race will begin in 10 minutes. Please convene at the gate prior to that time.
That's cool! Sonic! When did you learn those techniques?
Not very impressive for someone of your reputation.
I've checked you out, actually. Not bad. I admit you're pretty fast on your feet. But here, it's a whole different story when riding with extreme gear. You see, to be the fastest on a gear, you have to become one with the wind. Without wings, well, you might as well kiss the ground and go home.
Who does he think he is?
Well, I don't think he's all talk, you know. I better be on my toes during this competition.
I never imagined anyone would enter the race with such a piece of junk.
Sorry, Sonic. I just need to fine-tune a few things. Then your extreme gear will be at 100%.
Hey, Tails, you always do your best, so don't worry.
Yeah, but she has a point. She's a really brilliant mecha mechanic. Sonic, don't worry. I'll unlock the secret of the extreme gears for us.
Get a great start.
I don't even know where I last left off. I was talking about how, like, we're talking about Sonic Riders right here. Oh yeah, the head start. So, a head start. You want to make sure that you're not only going to the finish line as soon as it hits, or rather as close to it hitting 0 as possible. You want to do it at a very good speed, because not only do you get, you know, an obviously good head start, you actually get a really good speed boost out of this. Something that's not really made clear when you're playing this. What makes this version honestly cool is that, just like with, you're probably thinking of like Mario Kart when I'm talking about like head start and stuff like that, which is honestly cool too. It's just with, oh, I missed a shortcut. With this game in particular, when you get a head start, keep in mind you also get the ability to immediately dash out. So, even if you don't get a good head start, you can be able to pick yourself up just as quickly. But that head start still matters by a lot. Especially since most levels in the game actually has a little jump that you have to make just so you can even begin to compete. Okay, there we go. Just so you'll be able to even do anything, because if you dash that early, you're just basically wasting air. But believe it or not, we're actually halfway done with the story. Like, this story on both Heroes and Babylon are unfortunately rather short. I know saying that nowadays will probably put you on a hunt list, but when I say unfortunate, I mean like you can basically play this in 30 minutes and be done with each story. But I don't mean this as like a bad thing, it's just the fact that it's so much fun that you pretty much forget that, oh, that's it. Like, a lot of the courses here, and I'm actually thankful for this, can actually be completed in about 2-3 minutes depending on which one you're playing. I say this because of the secret game we're talking about earlier. I'll reveal the name once we get to Zero Gravity. But when we talk about this secret game, there's actually some sections on that the levels on that game can go up to 4 to 5 minutes. That doesn't sound like very long, but for those who really like Sonic Unleashed, keep this in perspective. That's basically every level you play is basically as long as Daytime Autobahn. Every single level is basically Daytime Autobahn. Well, with the sections I'm talking about in particular, but we'll get, like I said earlier, we'll talk more about the secret game once we get to Zero Gravity. There isn't really much else I could talk about this one other than, like, you know, the mission mode we're going to be playing after Babylon's story, because of course that's in this game. The emblems you have to collect, some of the gear that you collect that isn't in the shop, like just a lot of things. There's quite a couple things I like to talk about on this, but in terms of the actual racing, not so much. Like, there's some secret tech with the game and everything, but unfortunately I'm not familiar with all of it, so I do apologize for that.
Now our race has reached its final stage. The remaining competitors
time for the final event. And it's set here in Sand Ruins. The rules are still the same. Anything goes in this extreme race. Although it needs no further explanation, the first one to reach the goal will win this race. But remember, the prize will be won by the racer who's performed the best throughout this competition.
Ha! You're lucky you got this far. It obviously wasn't due to your skills. I won't lose now.
Get ready! It's time for the final race to begin!
And quote-unquote final race beginning we shall. Welcome to the Sand Ruins. In a set of 8, we're now dealing with 4 racers, one of which being Sonic's rival Jet. I haven't even started talking about like the Babylon Roads, and there's for good reason, because we're not on the Babylon story yet. I feel like a lot will be explained just from playing their cutscenes, but I feel like waiting for the cutscenes to do that will not do this justice. Anyway, here I come. Let's see. So, once again, even though this level is very favorable for all powers, there's still some discrepancies on this, like the secret section, where the section clearly favors power. Like, look right here, let me see. I'm not sure if you could see it because of the way it's paused, but if you could look at the statues, there's actually a section here that can actually be broken off only by power. And it cuts off a good chunk of this right here, which is entirely random of how many will actually appear at once. It's kind of ridiculous. But what's also ridiculous is there's also this level up system, which is in technically all games. I'll go into details with Zero Gravity since that is the outlier with this technicality, but basically, every time you get a certain amount of rings, in this game is 30 and 60, you get a level up that actually boosts your the stats of your board. And what the heck was that? But yeah, once you get through this and get level 3, not only do you get the max stats your character and board is capable of, your attack power also increases. And why that's important is because if you're playing multiplayer, your attack level increasing means that you can actually stun your opponents that much longer. Level 3s for a lot of characters is actually kind of nuts. One thing I also wanted to talk about, which I'll get to once we unlock everyone here, or at least unlock all the characters from doing Hero Story, is that this game actually features more than just Sonic characters. I know it's kind of silly saying that now, but especially when we live in the crossover era of so many games. But back then, having other Sega characters in a Sonic-focused game like this was always a treat. A treat and a half, if you will. Just like Sonic characters that were obscure being in modern games today is honestly a sight. But anyway, cutscene.
Ah, the dirt suits you so well. Ugh. This is Babylon Garden.
Now I'll get the treasure of Babylon!
Oh no!
Eggman! Tails! Knuckles! We gotta get Eggman! I found you!
Wait, Sonic, use this!
What is it?
It's a new gear I prepped up just in case something like this happened.
Thinking ahead, Tails? Thanks! Jet! You can't catch up with him! Get out of my way! Is that what you think? Take a look at this! I'll show you what true speed really is!
Still one of the harder lines Sonic has set in the franchise. But this is it. The actual last race of the story. Babylon Garden. Look at how huge this place is. Good lord.
Bring it on!
And keep in mind, we're just at the rooftop. Can you imagine how crazy it is to be going all the way down here? But no. So we now have a new gear, which only applies to Sonic given the story, which I think is actually pretty freaking cool. And for some reason, even here, we have to race this dude. Get out of my way. Actually, while I'm on this, it's actually pretty nice to have a refreshing take on the rivalry between Sonic and Jet, which is something that I'll save it. Like, I'm desperately wanting to talk about this, but I'll just save it. It's worth the wait, trust me. Or not, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, there we go. But yes, once we get through this, that'll be the end of this video, because this is only going to be focusing on the main aspects of the hero story. But the other thing is that the rivalry between these two about who's the fastest that established from this game was the most insane thing I've ever remember seeing, because like there were websites, like the official website of course, but like there was like another website that talked about like Heroes versus Babylon and everything. Like it was our MCU, to put it slightly. Like it was our freaking Civil War at the time. Like they were kind of hyped up to be like this really huge gang now was just a part of the series. Which, by the way, can we talk about this for a second? Sonic Riders came out in 2006. The last game we got of this entire series was 2010. We only had 3 games of this freaking insane series in a span of 4 years, which, you know, nowadays doesn't sound that crazy, but back then, like, having these many games at such a short notice was not the craziest look, and neither was getting a freaking C rank. I don't know, I really do wish we do get another Sonic Riders game at some point in the future. It'd be freaking amazing if we do. But yeah, that's pretty much now the actual gist of the Hero story. Like, Hero story, we're trying to just beat the Grand Prix. Babylon is also going to be beating the Grand Prix. But with these two teams as rivals, particularly Sonic and Jet, it's honestly just so refreshing to see this again, where like just actually competing, some trash talk here and there. Obviously, one sided with the trash talk, but you get the idea. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Sonic's story. We're going to let the cutscene rock, and then we're going to talk about a few more things that will be unlocked after beating the hero story.
Even without wings, I can still fly! Right? Ugh. Where are you, Eggman?
Look before you move.
Darn!
Now then, just be a good hedgehog and stay still.
Now! Can you catch the wind?
What? Where are you?
I'm here! Hey, catch! What? I lost! So don't play games with me! I don't want your pity, nor do I need it!
What? Are you crazy? If they don't want it, then let's take it. Treasure is treasure.
I think it's time to leave now. Tails?
Yeah. Sonic!
Amy?
How could you dive into Eggman knowing I was there?
Well, Amy, I thought it'd be okay with you, and,
Sonic! Come back here! Ah! Sonic, I won't forgive you this time! Ah!
Alright, so unfortunately this time we're going to skip the cutscene, the credits, because they will be showing the credits on the Babylon story side. See, look, skate types. On top of the fact that you get to play with the hoverboards, you get to play with skates. And now we have mission mode, with Storm's mission first. We've unlocked the Babylon Garden, that new level. We get Crave, Rouge, and Shadow the Hedgehog. And the opening, if you want to watch those again. The Blue Star 2 for Sonic, Darkness, the first type skates, which for some reason in this game, I mean, quote unquote, for some reason, is the default for Shadow. Now we get to play Babylon, and that's really about it. So, with all that being said, now we can actually buy some more extreme gear. Not that many, unfortunately, because we didn't get that many rings. Oh, but this one's actually really good on some levels. We will not be able to showcase those because all the story modes, mission modes, well, to an extent, and even the tag modes. Yeah, even the tag mode all uses their default gear. Like, look, if I try to select them, immediately goes into that. Looks so weird when you go up to the character select. But anyway, in the next part, we will be covering the Babylon story. I think once we get through that, that's when we will start with the mission mode. And then we get to pretty much be finished with that game, because the mission mode, I kind of skipped that, so we're probably going to have to find a way to look at that again. Well, realistically, all it is just a bunch of missions where you have to collect stuff for Storm. But we'll get to more in the details when we actually get to play it. Did I throw this force on out? Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay insane, stay natural, stay future alive, and of course, as always, stay extreme and stay warped. Stay warped!